Hello everyone, I'm Meteorologist Charlie Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for your 10 a.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. Now we've got a big story of course today, and that is the snowfall potential that's going to be affecting parts of eastern North Carolina coming up later on this afternoon at the very earliest, but more likely coming up this evening and overnight tonight. Now we want to go live to Amarachi Uche, who right now is standing by in Hertford County with more on what the DOT is doing to prepare for tonight's system. Amarachi, what is the latest? I see we've got some activity going on behind you. Give us a breakdown of exactly what DOT crews are preparing for.
Yeah, Charlie, like you said, I'm at the Hertford County maintenance yard here. They also cover Bertie County, which is under a winter weather advisory. Now you can kind of see behind me, this is one of the salt brining trucks that are getting refilled, getting ready to go. I know one truck just left a few minutes ago to head back to Bertie County to cover that area. Now this one, I do not know where this one's heading, but again, they're filling it up with gallons and gallons of that salt brine that's needed. Now, before when I was here, I was able to kind of get a tour of the place and see what goes into getting these trucks ready. So over there in one of the big yards here is pounds and pounds and stacks full of just salt that they take in carriers and carry it over to this building here, where they turn it into that salt brine that then goes into some cylinders here and then goes into the trucks as they go onto the roads. Now, earlier today, when I was talking with the director here at the DOT, they were saying that at 9 a.m. they had around already 7,000 gallons on the roads and counting. So that number has grown now, obviously, as it is now 10 a.m. So the crews are just out here working. They also have a whole bunch of snow plows ready for whatever comes the way here to Hertford or Bertie County as well, since they cover that as well. So there's about, I see almost 8, maybe a dozen snow plows already ready. And like I said, this truck here behind me on this side is ready to go, putting out more of that salt brine on the road. So they were talking earlier today about how they're just getting prepared for the worst. You have to prepare for the worst and expect the best. So that's what they're doing right now, because they don't want to be unprepared. And they're saying to any drivers that are going to be hitting the roads later this evening during the snow to obviously avoid the roads if you can, but if you can't, drive slow and safe. Again, they are brining these roads, but Charlie, like they were saying, anything could happen. So I talked with them. We'll hear more from them later on the other shows. I'm also going to go speaking to drivers who might be out on the roads later tonight, so that'll be coming up. But for now, live in Hertford County, Amarachi Uche, WITN News. Charlie?
Amarachi, thank you so much for that report. Of course, we will be checking back in with Amarachi throughout today to again get the latest on what DOT crews are doing to prepare and keep people safe overnight tonight and, of course, into tomorrow. This is going to be a system, I think, that is going to extend into tomorrow. Here's a look at what we've got right now across the southeastern United States. Still looking again at snowy conditions currently across Kentucky, West Virginia, and even over the western portion of our state. Of course, once you get into North Carolina, it's not as clean of a snowfall prognostication. It's looking a little bit more messy off to the west, but the fact is that we again are looking at that snowfall potential. Calendar right now apparently says we're still in December. Now, of course, we've got to get our air temperatures down quite a bit lower before we see any of the rain that right now is moving across South Carolina and into kind of the Fayetteville, almost Lumberton areas. That rain is going to transition over into snow once we get to around maybe 4 or 5 p.m. later on this evening. But again, you can see that snowfall line, it is close. Let's take a look at what we've got coming down across the east. Currently, it's really the sounds that are experiencing the most precipitation, the most rain coming down. I'm not really seeing any sign of any snowflakes yet across areas east of I-95. Currently, we do again have a few flakes right now across northern portions of Nash County and northern portions of Halifax County as well. And then later on this evening, again, all of those raindrops you see in south of Raleigh, those are going to be transitioning over into snowflakes. But the question is, how fast will ground temperatures drop? Right now, ground temps well above freezing, and you're not going to get anything sticking to the ground if those ground temperatures are above 32 degrees. Later on tonight, again, we are anticipating a lot of that snowfall to really increase across areas in Bertie, Martin, portions of Pitt County, Wayne County, Greene County. Also, again, seeing, well, obviously, Nash, Edgecombe, Halifax, Northampton, Hertford, Gates counties. You guys are likely going to be seeing the most out of this system. But even then, it's not going to be a ton. For those of you, again, in those counties I just named, you guys can possibly get the sleds out. Everyone else, it's really not looking like enough snow to potentially stick to the ground to create those sledding conditions. And by the time we wake up Tuesday, all of the moisture is gone, which will be a good thing. The problem is that anything that is left over on the roads, any kind of like wetness, it's all going to freeze. Overnight lows down in the mid-20s coming up later on tonight into tomorrow morning. So even though we're not going to be seeing any additional moisture come down on top of this system, anything that is still on the ground, whether it's snow or water or some mix in between, it's going to freeze to the roads, and that's going to create hazardous conditions, especially around bridges early tomorrow morning. Now, as far as snow and sleet accumulations, right now, again, it's going to be highest for those of you watching closer to the Virginia line. Those of you along the Crystal Coast, I'm not anticipating any sort of accumulations. Will you see some snowflakes? Certainly a possibility, especially as we get really late tonight into the early hours tomorrow morning. That's when you have an opportunity of maybe seeing some of those raindrops turn over into snowflakes. But accumulations are quite a bit more difficult to come by than just a few snowflakes coming down here in eastern North Carolina. And it's those areas kind of up to the northwest that have the best opportunity for maybe seeing some of that snowfall accumulate on the ground. So the transition time is expected to happen this afternoon through the early evening hours. Everything is going to be turning dry once we get to around midnight tonight, and then we've got, again, overnight lows dropping down into the mid-20s that will allow everything that's left on the ground to freeze and do so pretty quickly. Now, the wintry mix will, again, be more prevalent for areas along and north of Highway 264. Once you get closer to, New Bern and southward, your opportunity for, again, accumulations goes down. But your snowfall, if you're really looking to see, again, some snowflakes come in, I would, again, suggest looking out possibly around 8, 9, 10 p.m. at night, right as those last moisture rounds pull their way across the east. That's going to be your best opportunity for, again, seeing some snowflakes mix in there with the rain for those of you watching in our southern communities. But current air temperatures right now well above freezing. It's going to be difficult to get anything to freeze if you've got air temperatures above 32 degrees. And even though we're seeing a northeasterly wind right now, air temperatures are still climbing. Right now, most of us in the low to mid 40s. Those of you watching along the Outer Banks certainly looking a little bit warmer right now. But later on this afternoon, once those rain showers start to roll in, they will help force air temperatures down, and that will have an impact on the transition from rain over to snow. I think we'll start to see that between 3, 4, and 5 p.m. I think for those of you watching closer to the coast, your transition period is going to be more 7, 8, and 9 p.m. But as far as air temperatures go, you can see us dropping and doing so quickly through the afternoon. That should help our opportunity for seeing some snowflakes later on this evening. Big picture look at what is going to be causing this system. You got to remember that cold air is very dry by nature. It's more dense. It has less room for humidity. That's why in the summer months, again, super humid air, a lot of moisture. Once you get into the winter months and it's cold, very dry air. So it kind of works against the snow whenever you've got super cold air, because it's usually dry and it kind of saps up all the moisture. This is a system that's going to kind of teeter on that edge of being so dry that it kind of eliminates that opportunity for precipitation. That's the real problem for those of you watching closer to the Crystal Coast, is that cold air is going to rush in once all the moisture is gone. That cold air driver is that high pressure system you're seeing back across the Gulf Coast. That will help reinforce that cold air coming up for tomorrow. But then as that high moves off the coast, we will gradually start to see air temperatures warm, going from the low 40s today and tomorrow for your highs back into the 50s, at least, low to mid 50s, but 50s nonetheless for Wednesday and Thursday and potentially even Friday. Now, of course, we're going to be trending even colder coming up next week, and with another opportunity for rain or at least some moisture in the forecast, we could again, coming up next week, potentially be talking about some snow in the forecast. Of course, it's not a guarantee, not quite as a sure thing as today is, but even then, I don't want to really call today a sure thing, because I think most of eastern North Carolina is actually going to be avoiding the snowy wonderland I know we all hope for and we all wish for, at least most of us wish for. I know there's certainly quite a few of you who hate driving in the snow, but lovely to look out at. I don't think this is going to be quite that system. If you are hoping, again, to see some snowflakes, stay up later on this evening. You will see them, but as far as danger goes, I think the most dangerous time period is going to be between 9 p.m. tonight all the way until 9 a.m. early tomorrow morning. It is that 12-hour window overnight tonight into tomorrow morning where, even though the snowfall is going to be decreasing, it is the freezing on the roads that makes it a little bit more dangerous, and that, of course, is why the DOT is out in full force today, as we checked in with Amarachi Uche earlier in this hit. Now, of course, we are going to be checking back in with her later on today, but for right now, that's all we have time for. We will be back with more news and weather coming up at the top of the hour. And of course, a full deep dive look with Russell James coming up in your forecast at 11 a.m. Until then, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Monday. We'll see you back here coming up in just under an hour.